On the ground in Jamaica, commerce is visibly aggressive. Independent vendors fight for foot traffic, margins are razor thin, and the daily market operates with fierce, highly fragmented competition. But looking at the new Kingston commercial district reveals a completely different ecosystem. The commanding heights of the formal economy operate under an entirely alternative set of rules, where power is heavily centralized. Academic and legal scholars refer to this architecture as a tangled web, or business incest. The nation's largest industries, banking, insurance, manufacturing, and logistics, do not function as separate competing firms. They are permanently fused together through a dense system of overlapping board members and shared equity. While the street-level economy operates as a free market, the macroeconomy functions as a closed supernetwork. In the 1970s, sociologists Carl Stone and Stanley Reed identified the 21 families. This was a tight-knit oligarchy of merchant families, maintaining control through strict lineage and commercial reciprocity. Names like Ashenheim, Matalon, and Henriquez dominated the national corporate boards, controlling the island's import substitution industries, local banking, and major distribution channels. In the 1990s, soaring high interest rates and a severe liquidity crunch triggered a devastating national financial collapse. The government intervened directly through the Financial Sector Adjustment Company, or FinSAC, forcing a massive liquidation of indigenous financial assets. The crisis shattered the traditional power structure. Several established merchant families retreated, allowing aggressive, liquid outsiders to acquire distressed assets and descend the corporate ladder. To survive, the remaining elite transitioned their wealth out of direct, family-owned trading houses. They placed their assets into financial holding companies, or FHCs, diversified, publicly listed corporate umbrellas. The biological lineages of the 21 families remained fully intact, but their influence was newly institutionalized within these massive conglomerates. The ruling class of Jamaica is no longer defined by a static list of 21 surnames. It is a legally codified dynamic architecture of corporate capital allocators. Today, the Jamaica Stock Exchange is anchored by a Big Five constellation of conglomerates. These entities serve as the primary nodes of the island's wealth. At the top sits NCB Financial Group, a diversified financial services empire that acts as the apex predator of the entire Caribbean banking sector. NCB is unique among the Big Five due to the singular top-down strategic control exerted by its chairman and majority owner, Michael Lee Chin. Next is Sagicor Group Jamaica. Originating as a life insurance provider, Sagicor operates as the indispensable financial duopoly partner, holding massive reserves of liquid capital. They are flanked by the Pan Jamaica Group, which controls the island's commercial real estate and shipping logistics, alongside the Musson Group, a private vehicle aggressively expanding regional manufacturing and food distribution. Finally, Grace Kennedy operates as the institutional elder statesman of the group, characterized by deep, fluid ties between its executive boardroom and state regulatory agencies. These five corporate entities dictate the macroeconomic realities of the island. Their boardrooms serve as an unelected senate, where national economic policy is drafted and executed. The Big Five do not operate in isolation. Using the financial holding company structure, they bind themselves together through massive physical edges of cross-ownership. This network map shows how capital flows between the major players. Notice the thick line extending from NCB Financial Group. This represents their 61.8% majority stake in Guardian Holdings, effectively integrating Jamaican banking risk with the Trinidadian insurance float. Looking back at the chart, another massive edge appears. Pan Jamaica Group holds a 30.2% equity block directly inside Sagicor Group Jamaica. This visualization highlights the logic of the hedge. Pan Jam possesses high-value real estate but variable cash flow, while Sagicor holds vast cash premiums but needs physical assets. Pan Jam secures a friendly lender and reliable dividend stream, and Sagicor gains an anchor shareholder to block hostile takeovers. Consolidating massive blocks of stock within a few parent holding companies severely restricts the total shares available to the public, choking off open market liquidity. Furthermore, corporate dividend payouts are frequently dictated by the immediate cash flow requirements of the parent conglomerate, overriding the financial interests of everyday minority shareholders. This cross-ownership structure functions precisely as an engineered capital safety net, insulating elite corporate assets from regional market volatility. To manage these overlapping assets, the conglomerates rely on interlocking directorates. This is the practice where a single executive sits on multiple competing corporate boards simultaneously. Across the Big Five, the vast majority of critical board seats are controlled by a rotating cast of fewer than 50 individuals, the superconnectors. This spoken hub chart illustrates the reach of one such superconnector, Peter Melhado. He sits at the exact intersection of national banking at Sagicor, large-scale manufacturing at Redstripe, and commercial construction at WIH Con. Shifting the chart to focus on Jeffrey Hull reveals a direct strategic bridge. His simultaneous board positions protect Pan-Jamaica's real estate ambitions by aligning them with Sagicor's lending power and Kingston Wharf's shipping logistics. Board recruitment within this circle is highly reciprocal. Executives regularly trade board seats with one another, creating a unified club mentality that suppresses aggressive, zero-sum competition between major sectors. For new independent entrepreneurs, this dense web operates as an impenetrable gatekeeper. Securing large-scale domestic capital financing is nearly impossible without the direct patronage of these specific 50 individuals. These human interlocks guarantee that strategic information flows instantly across the market, ensuring that firms in theoretically competing industries always align when macroeconomic survival is at stake. The existence of this highly coordinated, centralized network strictly complies with Jamaican corporate law. The Bank of Jamaica is the primary regulatory authority. Its Banking Services Act is specifically designed to monitor complex financial nexuses and overlapping directorates. Section 57 of the BSA restricts counterparty exposures. It explicitly prevents banks from issuing unlimited, unchecked loans to companies owned by their own directors, aiming to stop the exact self-dealing that fueled the 1990s crash. Meanwhile, the Fair Competition Act, or FCA, governs general market conduct. However, unlike antitrust laws in other jurisdictions, the FCA lacks the structural authority to ban executives from sitting on the boards of direct competitors. Formal statutes ultimately struggle to regulate the tight, high-trust social bonds and shared educational backgrounds of the superconnectors. The informal power dynamics of the elite regularly outmaneuver the strictures on paper. The ultimate expression of this interlocking strategy occurred in 2023 with the amalgamation of the Pan-Jamaica Group and Jamaica Producers. This was a direct dynastic alliance of two established old money families. The merger seamlessly combined the Facey family's dominance in urban commercial real estate with the Johnston family's rural agricultural wealth and vast logistics network. Crucially, this consolidation formalized control over vital national shipping infrastructure, including the primary multi-purpose port terminal at Kingston Wharfs. The immediate market outcome was the creation of a massive closed-loop entity. By fusing their assets, these families completely bypassed the need to compete on the open market for external capital or specialized management talent. Commanding assets exceeding 100 billion Jamaican dollars, this super entity functions identically to a sovereign wealth fund, engineered exclusively to protect and expand the wealth of the families that control it. There is an objective macroeconomic rationale for this concentration. In a developing island state with a shallow pool of domestic capital, this dense web provides essential stability. The cross-shareholdings and coordinated strategies form a structural defense, allowing the national economy to absorb severe external shocks and global market volatility. However, this external defense comes at the cost of a severe internal vulnerability. The sheer concentration of power among 50 superconnectors breeds governance myopia and deep intellectual groupthink. Because these financial nodes are heavily cross-owned, the economy faces acute systemic contagion. The failure of a single massive entity like PanJam guarantees the immediate destabilization of the banking, insurance, and real estate sectors simultaneously. The precise architecture that protects the system from outside pressure ensures that an internal fracture will shatter the entire market. The 21 families did not vanish, they adapted. They left behind the vulnerable merchant houses of the 20th century and constructed impregnable, interconnected capital machines. Dismantling this web is now functionally impossible without destroying the market's core infrastructure. For better or worse, this centralized super network is the permanent central nervous system of the Jamaican economy.